bringing you the latest Arizona high school football recruiting news year-round. This is the Recruiting Roundup on ProsToPreps.com.
Hey, it's been a long couple weeks, but we've reached the end of the Daily Dozen. This is the last episode, episode 11. We're bringing you 132 players to watch going into the 2013 high school football season. That's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. Normally every week we bring you the Recruiting Roundup, but for now it's the Daily Dozen as we are excited for the start of football, which is getting started here in just a few weeks. Starting at 121, maybe the top recruit in the state right now, going into a senior season, that would be Casey Tucker out at Hamilton.
Arguably the best football player in the state, and the reason is there's not many kids that are 6'6" and 285 pounds walking around your high school campuses. Was an early commit to USC, has decommitted since then, has narrowed his list down to a top 5 to 6, but big-time player, 5-star prospect.
Another player at 122 that goes nose to nose with a guy like Casey Tucker, that would be Thomas Turley, defensive tackle at Corona.
He's a defensive end / tight end, 6'5", 220, still very, very raw. Shows some flashes on film that makes me think that he'll end up playing on Saturdays.
At 123, we're staying on the East Valley. This is a linebacker that I'm just a huge fan of out of Perry High School, Lane Veach.
Really starting to blow up. Got that early offer from the University of Arizona. Since then, has been offered by a handful of other schools, including Stanford, a school that I know he's really high on, and I would probably expect him to commit to that school.
Maybe the 2015 version of Casey Tucker, because you don't see these type of guys just walking around your schools very often. At 124, it's Chaparral's Keenan Walker.
Already holds multiple Division I offers. He's a big-time player. He's 6'6", 265, only going to be a junior. He'll be probably the number 2 prospect in the state behind Christian Kirk.
At 125, one of the more reliable quarterbacks and with a great arm in the state is Basha's Zach Werlinger.
I'm a big fan of him. I loved him at ASU's Passing League. I loved him at NAU's Passing League tournament. He's led him to, down to the finals of every tournament he's been in. Very good player. I'm just shocked he doesn't have a college football offer yet.
At 126, one of the most dynamic athletes on both sides of the football in the state. He has blown up since the 2012-2013 season ended. That would be Tyler Wiley out at Chaparral High School.
Yeah, what do you play him at the college level? Does he play wide receiver? Does he play corner? Does he play outside linebacker or safety? Just get him on campus and figure out what he can do. Has a dozen Division I offers. He's a top 200 recruit in the nation.
At 127, this is a player that I'm really intrigued by because he's going to be playing quarterback for Valley Christian, but he's being recruited at tight end, defensive end. Just tells you this guy is just a flat football player. TJ Widener. 6'5",
230. The first time I saw him was actually he was playing basketball, but he's big, physical. I don't think he's going to be a quarterback at the next level. Maybe he's a DN, maybe he's a tight end, or maybe he turns into the next Lane Johnson and plays offensive tackle.
Interesting. Lane Johnson played quarterback before moving to the offensive line in Oklahoma. That's an interesting comparison. At number 128, Darius Williams, a senior defensive back out at Campo Verde.
Yeah, not many people talking about him, but he had 6 interceptions, was one of the state's leaders last year. I expect him to be one of the state's leaders this year.
It just so happens that all the top players at Chaparral's last name starts with W. That's why they're loaded in episode 11. The third one to mention, Trevor Wood, defensive end, tight end, very just great football player at Chaparral.
I think he ends up being a tight end at the next level, but he could do both. He could play tight end or DN. Another, 3-star prospect, big-time football player, 6'6", 240 pounds. Great bloodlines and just a big-time football player.
A couple talented pass rushers to bring you with the next couple players. The first one is Brian Woodward. He's going into his senior season at outside linebacker for Brophy.
Yeah, was a very good defensive player. He likely is going to go into the season as Brophy's starting quarterback as well. But a talented, very talented football player that no one's really talking about yet.
At 131, that would be Marlon Xavier, the defensive end over at Deer Valley.
And I know no one is talking about him, but I went out in spring and saw him. He's only going to be a junior. He's like 6'3", 225 pounds. Only had 3.5 sacks as a sophomore, but I liked how he looked, and I like his potential.
And last but certainly not least, it's just the way it goes when you have a last name that starts with Y. He's the last player we're mentioning for the Daily Dozen. Taking over at running back for Centennial is Dedrick Young. He's going into his junior season.
Yeah, I think he had 15 touchdowns as a sophomore and limited touches behind Jalen Ortiz. He's 6 foot, 205 pounds, and he ran 2 4.5 40s at a camp that I was at this summer. Impressive player, like I said, only going to be a junior, and I'll call it here again. He's going to be a Division I football player.
Long list of running backs that have come out of Centennial High School. He's the next one waiting in the wings.
Certainly.
So that is it. We have brought you 132 players to watch for the 2013 high school football season. We're going to bring you a lot more players that we didn't get to because there's so many great players around the state of Arizona. We still have time before the high school football season starts, but this is a wrap on the Daily Dozen. Thanks a lot to Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. Greg Naylor in the back. We appreciate it. This has been the Daily Dozen on ProsToPreps.com.